I'm a few days late to the party, but today we are here to react to Grant Hughes' article, One Player with the Most to Prove on Every NBA Team. It's from August 15th, like I said, a few days late to the party, but rather be late than never there, I guess. We're starting off with the Atlanta Hawks. He has Double O, Onyeka Okongwu. I don't think there's many guys with something to prove on the Hawks. I actually think Jalen Johnson might have something to prove. He kind of struggled in the playoffs a little bit. I guess you could say that's playoff exclusive. But Onyeka Okongwu wasn't bad. I mean, I don't remember him in the playoffs doing very well. I do remember them struggling with size down low and struggling with rebounding. That is kind of Onyeka's issue. He's also a candidate for an extension. That makes a lot more sense. Also, don't like how he phrases this. Nothing opens up the floor like for a first option alpha, like a big man who can space 25. Don't like the phrasing there, but I get what he means. If he's extension eligible coming up, that makes sense. Derek White, yeah, Derek White for the Celtics is the one that makes the most sense. You could say kind of a Jason Tatum pick here, you could, but at the same time, Derek White's playoffs were stinky, like really bad. His regular season efficiency was really bad. I remember 39-33 splits. I remember that off the top of my head. The playoffs, he might have shot 0% from the field. Always been a really good defender, but it also does show, shot 38% from deep in the previous 3 seasons, but shot about 33% last year and 27% in the playoffs. Yeah, he was a one-sided basketball player in the playoffs for the Celtics. He has a lot to prove. I completely agree. The Brooklyn Nets, every 2025 first round, yes. Yeah, whether it's Traore, Seraph, Joman, or Danny Wolf, one of them has to break out because they took four first rounders, or was Drake Powell in there? Yep, Drake Powell was in there as well. So they took 5 first round picks, and really like none of them broke out last season. Yegor had a good rookie season until the plantar fasciitis got him. Hopefully he looks like he could be the best out of them, to be honest with you. I'm not a big Danny Wolf guy, but it looks like Yegor Joman might be the best pick out of the bunch so far. Brandon Miller, yeah, I mean, they're putting the keys in his hands. Like, whether he wants it or not, they traded LaMelo Ball. This is Brandon Miller's team going into this next season, 100%. And I'm excited for it, to be honest with you. Although I have said before, I don't like the Hornets trading LaMelo Ball, period. I do think that letting Brandon Miller be the guy is definitely... It's going to be more fun. It feels like they're finally giving him the chance that he needed, kind of like when the Pacers finally opened it up for Paul George, I guess, when he was a young player as well, and they gave Paul George the keys to the franchise. I mean, 20 points and shot 38% from 3. He was a volume 3-point shooter last season. It'll be interesting to see how the scoring goes, considering a lot of it's going to be more self-created now, because LaMelo was their, floor general. They don't have that. Rob Dillingham, oh boy. Yeah, he does have a lot to prove, but I mean, realistically, he probably has the most to prove because he'll be out of the NBA very soon. At the rate he's currently going, he will be out of the NBA very soon. I mean, the turnovers have been bad. The size, he's muy pequeño, not a big guy, and that makes it really difficult to strive in the NBA. I mean, you can even see it in the picture. He looks like a small guy. Evan Mobley, interesting. They're the same team as last season, so I don't know how much he's going to back it up or be better. But what I will say is the efficiency was terrible. The efficiency was terrible last season. He couldn't buy a free throw. The free throw percentage, I'm talking about it right now, 61% from the free throw line. This was a guy who was a 70%er last season, well, 2 years ago now. It's weird how his offensive bag has gone from they want him to do more mid-range stuff. If you watch him play, he loves to do the Bam Adebayo shit where you basically swoop across the lane and then take a fadeaway from free throw line area. He's been doing that a lot more often, so it's ironic that his free throw percentage has cratered. Yeah, he has a Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, he has all-star selections, but I do agree that he has something to prove because there needs to be another step in his development. There really needs to be another level to him for development-wise. Zach Risacher, the guy is the number 1 overall pick, former number 1 overall pick, who just got traded for Lou Dort. So, yeah, that one makes the most sense. Playing next to Kuplag and Kyrie, he can rehabilitate his look a little bit, rehabilitate his image. I really believe that he can be a good 3-and-D wing. Not much more than that, though. Christian Braun, another guy who needs to really rehabilitate his image. He was so bad last season for Denver. He hit 40% of his threes 2 years ago, but that extension number looks hideous when he really couldn't hit his threes last season and became very one-dimensional, I'll say. He's a guy that I like to pair next to Jokic. He's a very good perimeter defender. Not very good, but he's a really good perimeter defender. But he gets out on the break well. He slashes and he cuts to the basket real aggressive. He plays well with Jokic, but The three-point shot not being there definitely hurts him a ton. Ausar, I'm assuming the Rockets one's going to be a men. The jump shooting, again, it's really tough to keep a guy who can't make a jump shot outside of like 7 feet on the floor in the playoffs. It's really difficult. Did he airball a corner three in the playoffs? Do I remember that correctly? He took one and just badly missed it. I mean, they were defending him by going like this. The thing is, he can make it up by making amazing defensive plays, steals, turnovers, blocks, anything, right? But it makes it a little bit more difficult when, again, you are an absolute void on the offensive side of the ball. Just, again, one-dimensional, but the offense just needs to be better. I mean, 20% from three, it just needs to be better. And assist to turnovers, not great either. So, really needs to develop some type of consistent offense outside of, lobs and dunks. Brandon Podziemski's up next. I guess. I don't see him as much more than he currently is, which is relatively efficient and like an 18, I'd say maybe 17 to 15 point per game guy. He's been efficient for the last few seasons. They just expect another step up from him, and honestly, I don't see that. You can say that he needs to hit a new level in his development or whatever. Sure, for them to be good, they need somebody to step up, absolutely, but I don't expect it to be Pods, to be honest. I'm kind of off of that boat. I think I'm good on that. Oh yeah, I was right. Amen Thompson's the Rockets one. This makes a lot of sense. I mean, the guy, you have to be able to knock down a consistent jump shot. Amen's a little bit better because he's able to hit the free throw line mid-range a little bit more consistently. But realistically, it's just difficult to plan an offense around a guy who can't hit a jump shot consistently. It's just really tough to win like that. Unless they're a center, obviously. Like, you can win with, like, Steven Adams on the floor or someone like that. That's not a non-shooter, but as a guard, it becomes a lot more difficult, especially when Amen was playing point guard last season. I mean, the defense is elite. It's just consistent shooting from somewhere on the floor needs to make him more valuable. Halliburton, I told you. I mean, the guy is like Rodney Dangerfield. He gets no respect. The schedule release he was pissed about, understandably so. I mean, I get it. He doesn't have to be on national television, but at least let the guy's first game be a home game. I digress. A little bit ridiculous considering a top 10 point guard is coming back into the fold, and the NBA's like, yeah, whatever. But nobody can do what Halliburton did for Indiana. We saw that last season. They were not able to recreate the magic that they had created from two seasons ago when they went to the finals last season because Halliburton wasn't there. Nembhard wasn't able to pull the workload needed to do it. Neither was, McConnell or anyone like that. They need Halliburton. They need a guy who can push the pace. That's Tyrese Halliburton. And I am assuming he will go back to being very, very good again with that janky jump shot, but throwing dime after dime after dime. Last time we saw him play, I believe he had 9.5 assists per game to only 1.5 turnovers. That's like an elite mark that only like Chris Paul can do. Obviously John Stockton too, but I don't want to talk about him. Darius Garland to the Clippers, yeah, I'm on board with this actually, to be honest with you. Darius Garland, if the Clippers are respectable, he could be their all-star. Just being completely he could be their all-star. The toe injury kept him out a majority of last season. He played like 30 games if I had to ballpark it. He hasn't been healthy. He played 19 games with the Clippers last year. So yeah, somewhere around 30 games total. He was way better with the Clippers, shooting well over 40 from three and hitting his floaters very consistently in LA. I think if he just plays like he did last season, I know that 44% from three, that's not going to stick. But if he can be like 38, he can be the all-star guard for the Clippers. He really could be their all-star representative. Luka Doncic, injuries took him out last season. I don't know what he has to prove. I don't know, but can he show up in shape? Can he avoid injuries that have broken him down? Okay. So it's can he be not fat like he's already beaten? I think he's already beaten that charge. But can he maybe win an MVP? Asking for more regular season accolades out of him because last season he played only 64 games. I remember that directly. I think with no LeBron, he's back to being like the guy. Nobody else is really setting up the offense besides like him and AR. The rest of the team is really role players. I think Luka is set to have another big season, and I don't know if he has much to prove. I mean, I guess the playoff success and maybe winning an MVP would be huge for him, but would Luka winning MVP really adjust how NBA fans view him? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I don't think so. I think if Luka wins MVP this season, we all know he's a top 3 point guard in the league, easy in the top 10 players in the league in general. You know what I mean? Cam Boozer, yeah. Yeah, he fell in the draft to 4. He was, maybe the most consistent rookie in college. He was very good. It's the physical profile that kind of gets you there. Like, he can shoot, he can pass, but it's like he kind of has an ugly bag. He plays like his dad despite being multiple inches shorter than his dad. He's not the most athletic guy in the world, but he gets the job done. And he fell to 4 because people saw the upside of Caleb Wilson more than they saw the upside of Cam Boozer. Cam's got to come out and show them, like, hey, I have high upside too. I really think that he can be an all-star caliber guy, and playing next to Zach Edey should help him out a lot early in his career. Nikola Jovic, yeah, he's bad. He was bad last season, and he's getting paid too much money. Just too much money. He got a $62 million extension, and he was not great. He was not great. He's never played more than 47 games in a season. I'd never really peeped that, but Nikola Jovic is I would say he's one of the worst contracts actively right now. Not the worst, but it's a bad deal regardless because he hasn't played consistently. Also on top of that, last year when he did play, he was not that great. Just overall not that great. So yes, he has a lot to prove this season, especially because he's playing with Giannis now. Like, you got to fit in, Hero, I don't think he's going to prove anything. Like, I don't think he's going to be all-star numbers or whatever. I really just don't feel like that's going to be the case with Tyler Hero in Milwaukee. I think there's a higher chance he gets moved out of Milwaukee than he does make the all-star game with the Bucks. I mean, the guy's a bucket. It's kind of what we're talking about here. He's just a bucket, and that makes a lot of sense, but I don't know. I'm not the highest on guys that just do buckets and nothing else. Timberwolves, LaMelo Ball, just the injuries. He played a less minutes per game than really any other year of his career last season because the Hornets wanted to protect him from injuries. LaMelo Ball is such a fun player when he's on the floor, but he needs to be on the floor. And on top of that, like, again, with Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, that should be a playoff team. LaMelo Ball needs to raise their ceiling and be that guard that can get them over the hump that they've never really had. Pelicans, we got Trey Murph. I don't know what he's really trying to prove here. I guess it's basically they're trying to compete. They want to win games, and I guess he's the big integral piece of that. I'd say there's a lot of guys on the Pelicans that have something to prove. Zion, DeJounte even, coming off an Achilles tear. He has something to prove as well. I'd say a lot of the Pelicans have something to prove. I don't think they're going to prove it. I don't think it's a good enough team to really disprove anything. They're going to win like 40, maybe. Trey Murphy is going to be a big part of that. I think picking Trey Murphy for this is a little bit interesting because I get it. He wasn't traded because they had a very high price tag for him, but that's not really Trey Murphy's fault. Come Dadier? Pac Dad? Really, I guess. Pac Dad, he's played only 47 games in 2 seasons. He's a wing. I think that they've shown that they might be more interested in Mo Diawara than Dadier. They're more interested. They extended Mo Diawara for like 4 seasons, so I would say that it's probably going to be him. Dadier killed it in Westchester last season. Hey, maybe. Cason Wallace. He's in a contract here, I think. I think that's the only thing he has to prove is that he's in a contract season, but we know what Cason Wallace is going to do. He's an elite guard defender, can force turnovers with the best of them, and on top of that, he hits his threes at a respectable clip. There was times where he was doing self-creation last season. Like, there was games where SGA was out and J-Dub was out, and Cason Wallace is out there creating for himself. I remember he had like a 30-point game, I think, or something. He's had some games where he's had to be a self-creator, and he has done it. I'm a big fan of Cason Wallace. I don't know if he has that much to prove. In a contract season, he does have a number to prove, I guess, to say, hey, I'm worth this much money. So it is something to prove. But in terms of who he is as a player, I don't think there's much to prove with Cason Wallace. Super talented guy. Paolo Banchero, yeah, we've been saying he has something to prove for a few seasons now. I'm not off the train, I guess. I'm not off the train because there's always a chance that they can make it work this season. I think one thing that they need to stop doing is being that gritty defensive team that wants to win, with 85 points on the board. It would help out Paolo a lot if every time he touched the ball, it wasn't isolate in a half-court setting every single time. He got the bag, but they're just not sure on if he's the one option, if he's the guy that can get the Orlando Magic over the top. And quite frankly, neither am I. And it shows because the Magic staff is basically saying, hey, we got till mid-season to prove which one of you is, better off and which one we're better off keeping versus trading. So, yeah, Paolo does have something to prove, but it's hilarious because he's had something to prove for like 4 years now. Jaylen Brown, I guess, bro. I guess the trade and he's not the 7th best player on his team. By the way, that was a foolish take, but it is what it is. Analytics, I get it. I get the advanced analytics didn't love Jaylen Brown. The one thing I will say is like, Jaylen Brown has done these live streams recently where he's talked about things like, the Celtics did me dirty, the Celtics did me wrong, blah, blah, blah. If you're talking about the trade and them maybe not communicating to you where you're going to go, I guess you're right in that regard. But to say that the franchise never respected you when they handed you $300 million, and made you one of the highest paid players in NBA history, I would say that they respected you then. I get it if you're talking about he didn't want to be traded and he feels kind of slighted because he got traded, especially after last season. But again, they paid you $300 million. They handed you a big bag that nobody else really was going to give you. Yeah, I mean, he's getting paid an average of $62 million through 28-29. That is an unreal number, and the Celtics giving that to him definitely isn't a sign of disrespect. That's not disrespecting a guy giving him $300 million, in a duffel bag. Mon Maluach. Yeah, that he didn't play a ton last season, but he was good in Summer League. He had a couple of really decent Summer League games, and he looks like a guy who can be a full-time center in the NBA despite only being I think he's only 6'9". He looks like a young guy, though. They mentioned Summer League in here. He put up 19.5 points with about 13 rebounds and 2 blocks per game. He hit 8 of his 23s in Summer League as well. Man can hoop, and he just needs to see the floor. I think last season he could have got ticked too, but the Suns were in a mode where they just wanted to win, and they weren't going to throw a rookie into the fire just to do it. So I think that this season you're going to see a big jump from Maluach. I really do love Kemon Maluach. I think he's going to be such a good player once he gets kind of full run with the Phoenix Suns, whether Mark Williams is the starter or not. Portland, Ja Morant, yep. Easy. I mean, the guy doesn't play. He's never on the floor. I'm not even going to reference the off-the-court troubles because he's kind of calmed that down in recent months, but just get on the floor, play games. That's the tough part. He's played 40 games over the last 2 seasons. It's ridiculous, and we need to see some player development in the moments where he's been out. Develop that three-point shot. To not salvage his career, but to definitely open it up a little bit more. He needs more of an outside game. I agree Ja Morant has so much to prove this season, but he has a lot of believers, and I think I'm one of them. Sacramento Keegan Murray, is he not hurt? Isn't he hurt already? He got a big extension. Yeah, that's cool. But he wasn't good. At 27% of his threes, when he was one of the guys that set the rookie record for threes made. He had it before Con Kneppel broke it. So the fact that his three-point percentage has dipped is definitely worrying. Aaron Fox, we saw the NBA Finals. And yeah, he's making a ton of money, and again, arguably third best guard on his team already, based on how D. Hart played in the finals, based on how Stephon Castle played in the playoffs in general, except for the high turnover games Stephon Castle had. I'm a big De'Aaron Fox guy. I think he just needs to, another guy that just needs to have another good season. He was an all-star last season, but I think you'd forget that if you asked regular people because they remember his playoffs more than his regular season, and rightfully so. His playoffs were really bad, even though there was potentially an ankle injury in there. Like a Pirtle, oh God, coming off that back surgery last season, he looked rough. Back surgery will sap you of any form of athleticism you had, and Yak was never the most athletic guy ever. Colin Murray-Boyles is coming for his minutes as well, so yeah, I can see that as well. But Yak I feel like he needs to be good for them. They need a good rebounding big who can set hard screens and roll. Yak does that, and he hits the floaters pretty well. I'm a big fan of Jakob Poeltl. I think coming off that back surgery last season, he had back injections done. And I get it. He needed some time. He needed more of a ramp up to go back to being the really plus player we've known him as. Yeah, he could be a negative asset if he has another bad season. He wasn't good in the playoffs, frankly. He wasn't very good in the playoffs. They talk about his rebounding being down. That's what I mean, though. I think with the back injury, he was definitely a little bit more scared of contact. The more he plays through it, the more he's going to realize, okay, I'm going to be able to get down in the paint and do what I usually do. At least that's the hope. If not, Colin Murray-Boyles, you are the starting center for the Toronto Raptors. Lauri Markkanen, yeah, he needs to show that he's kind of a winning player to some people, quote unquote, because he's never really been on a team that's been a competitor, He was the guy that got traded for Donovan Mitchell, so he was there when the Jazz started their rebuild. He was there for the Cavalanche team with Ricky Rubio in Cleveland, where it was they're a cool team, but they're not really a contender. And then Rubio got hurt and it fell apart. They mentioned his games played, and I guess I kind of understand that because he has been out, but it's not really his fault that he's been out for the most part. The Jazz like to sit him because they like losing, or at least over the last few years, they've loved losing. And then Trae Young. Trae Young might have the most to prove in the NBA this upcoming season, up there with Ja Morant at least, because he got a freaking bag, dude. Like a massive bag. And he needs to prove himself as the top, whatever point guard that he was once upon a time. The biggest thing is the efficiency. He needs to shoot better from three because he's a small guard and he needs to be able to pull that defender out further away from the basket. Because, hey, if a defender is able to just sag off you and leave you alone as a 6'1 guard, you're going to struggle. They have a ton of talent. AJ DeBonsa, even Trey Johnson types of the world, Keyshawn Georges of the world. He should be able to collect a lot of assists this season. I feel like his assist upside is going to be there. He should be able to get passes off to different guys in different spots. I'm very excited to see this Washington Wizards team, and I do agree Trae Young might have the most to prove in the NBA. That is it. That is all for the video. Thank you again to Grant Hughes. You can follow him there. You see all his links and stuff like that. I will link this article in the description below. Thank you all for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are new. I'm going to go catch a game. I'll see you guys in the next one.